So they'll be calling you a radical. This is important. Real important. Historical day. Environmentally. So the EU data's out, and for the first time in history, renewables have passed fossil fuels in Europe. Well, that's a big deal. So they got serious about this in 2015 post-Fukushima. They're not in Fukushima denial over there. Not all of them anyway. Here it's 100% Fukushima denial. So we won't get serious about anything here. You know, political theater. Creating race wars, the lowest common denominator. So, in the state of California, they got serious a long time ago. This is important. The state of California today is producing well over 200% more solar a day than they can use. What? It's being blocked in the grid. A Mormon legislator from Utah that lives in Nevada sponsored the bill to block you in Nevada selling back. Remember that? In 2015-16? They never corrected it. Why? The coal lobby. The nuclear lobby. When nuclear's producing jack. You know, Diablo, California will be nuclear energy free ASAP. Diablo Canyon done. So, why would the United States not get serious about this? And they won't. Consumption junkies, what's your function? So, they refuse. They're caught up in political theater. So, the leaders in Europe, in Scandinavia, Norway, oh yeah, big time. Denmark, big time. Just think about it. You start pretty well all day right now. How do they do it? Here's the other component that this doesn't show up in this data. It's really powerful and really important. Europe got serious about overconsumption. They really went on a lower consumption. That's the answer. It's always been the answer. The United States of usury, these sheep, have broken, in 1980, this was a big deal. That, as an activist in 1980, of course, was going against nuclear energy, 1970s was against cars. The population of the United States since 1980, I believe, is just a hair over doubled. The amount of cars is up 4,000%. They've broke the consumption, their own personal consumption record of the world's product every single year for 40 years. Every single year. They were consuming 12%. We're well north of 40. Of the world, it's discussed. Consumption junkies, what's your function? Where's your soup can? So, it isn't like we're having an argument. These people are trying to shove down your throat that you're still having a solar argument and a wind argument in the 1980s. And by the way, how long in the Netherlands, Holland, have they been using windmills? Several hundred years, if more than that. So it's a big deal, but the United States refuses. I love these idiots that are still trying to shove nuclear down your throat. The most dirty, filthy carbon is nuclear. What's a uranium mine? What's uranium tailing? What's Savannah River's Mox fuel fairy tale? What's construction of these things? What's guarding the waste? What's waste storage whip? It's a catastrophe. And we just keep, Price Anderson just keeps the fucking dream alive. Well, it ain't a dream. It's a fucking nightmare. So it's a big deal. Again, I cannot overstate this. Here in Utah, the sun shines 300 days a year. Why are we not 100% so it could be overnight? By the way, in California, years ago, they got serious. I was with the group That started in Chula Vista, the solar initiative. I was with that group. I was with that whole group that did that. You know, it's state law now. Any new construction has to be renewable. I think Los Angeles was the first municipality in the entire country to be 100% solar. It's pretty incredible. They're getting ready to move, huh? They're molding. That's awful early, huh? Well, everything's out of whack. So, it's the coal lobby. It's a bill called Price-Anderson, which is the Immunity Act of 1957. So, what's that? And these are not public utilities. They got rid of that long ago. These nuclear reactors, these nuclear companies, they go in, these lobbyists just politic, get money. New Scale and other criminal derelicts. They can do whatever they want with the money, and there's no liability. It's called the Immunity Act. You can't sue them. All liability on any nuclear reactor, any nuclear project, any experiment, either whether they rob the money, anything, you know. Well, isn't there some criminality to that? Wouldn't you think? Wouldn't you think? But the United States has refused because the Nuclear Energy Crime Syndicate, a.k.a. the Untouchables, that is King Cuomo in New York. Ask Trump and his freaking porky pigness. I want to say this, from 1980, the GOP, well, all of Congress for that matter, you know what the debt was in 1980? Trickle-down economics has worked nice. Tax the future, give to my friends. Whatever happened to the fiscal responsible GOP? Whatever happened to those guys? Whatever happened to those dudes? Going, gone. She's out of here. So, big day, historic. You know, I've had multiple calls from Europe and from New York. People saying, well, it's been reported that this, of course, Washington Post, Jeff Bezos' grandpappy's a nuclear physicist at Los Alamos. All roads lead there, Epstein Island. So, this is just figuratively. It's just kind of a symbolic. No, it's fucking not. Nuclear weapons are against the law internationally. No symbolity. No symbolity. There's a new one. I like that name. Symbolity. No. It just means everything. Just because the United States of fucking arrogance, baby bombing fucking killers don't agree. Oh, it's international fucking law. You know, so Tsar Putin, London Liz, Israel, and, of course, the great weasel nation, Canada. They say they're all in, but they centrifuge the fucking waste. Talk about a thumbprint. Talk about carbon. How about centrifuging? Whoa, in Toronto. You know, it's dirtiest, filthiest fucking uranium from the earth. Oh, not what they use in a fucking reactor. They're like, oh, fuck the rest of the world. We're still the bullies. Well, the rest of the world's like, fuck you. And they're like, what are you going to do about it? We got to put economic sanctions on these countries that vote for these nuclear weapons. The United States, that poor broke fucking debtor's nation, they laugh. You need to borrow $5? Here, let me buy you a fucking Coke. So, big deal. Historic times we live in. Blinded by the light. So, it's a big deal. They got serious. So, I'm in Italy, and they have these giant electronic billboards all over, and they have these Muppet-looking characters, and they're dancing, and they dance, and they play all over, and they're cool as hell, and they have like a piece of pizza hanging out of a big, sloppy, fat, Muppet-looking thing's ass, you know, whatever, and then it says, don't be like an American consumption junkie. Well, don't say consumption junkie. The great American consumer. Don't be that. Don't be that. And, you know, that's how they played it. You want to be like one of these disgusting Americans? You need to speak American. He was Italiano, wasn't he, Florence? So, they've lowered consumption. Here, people don't even... Get your slave-made goods. So, by the way, what's Fukushima? It's a big deal. So they've done it. Historic. Stay tuned.